Hello and welcome to the Be Formless Flow Driven CEO podcast. I am welcoming to the show today Sherry Grote. Welcome to the show, Sherry.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, you too, Sherry. I am going to call out. I have to just watch our Wi-Fi at the moment. It is a little bit wonky, so we'll just see how we go. Sherry, you are based in Georgia. You did say the town, but I am struggling to pronounce it, so I might let you pronounce. Where are you from in Georgia, did you say, in the United States?
Yeah, I'm in Atlanta.
Atlanta. Oh my God, how could I be struggling to say that? I must have been struggling to hear it before, but Atlanta, Georgia, as if I don't know what that like, as if I don't know how to pronounce that. Anywho, that's okay. That is okay. Sherry, you are a strategic leadership expert, speaker, and creator of the Harmony Hero framework, which has helped leaders turn chaos into clarity and go from unseen to unforgettable. 20 plus years in high growth B2B SaaS and marketing, including fractional CMO work. You focus on human-centered growth, team dynamics, and practical operating rhythms for sustained performance. And you've also introduced the Plato principle of leadership, which is around this flexibility instead of chiseling. I'm going to let you explain that more, but it's how to achieve harmony in the storms and chaos of life. Tell us a little bit about all of this because I am quite fascinated and how you came into I guess working in this space and creating such impressive frameworks, and understanding the need for turning that chaos into clarity. We were just talking pre-show even about, just the start of this year and the pressure we're putting on it, like the pressure that is out there, and what if we just it's adding more chaos, like less clarity and more chaos. And so I absolutely love what you're doing.
Absolutely. So I grew up, cut my teeth in marketing at a startup. I was actually the first employee of the company. We had a incredible solution that was very ahead of its time in the tech world. It was Internet of Things before there was Internet of Things. And we raised 20 million in venture capital. That was one of the very first things I did in
Wow.
that role. And we also completed our S1 with Goldman Sachs, and we were all set to go out with our IPO. And unfortunately, market conditions and timing cause you to be flexible because the market crashed 2 days before our date to go out with our IPO. So you can't plan for everything,
No,
and
never.
you also not guaranteed anything. So that was the intro. That was the beginning of my marketing career. And since then, I've worked for multiple high growth, fresh new startups who were either bootstrapped and working towards raising their next round of capital, or I've worked with organizations that maybe had their first round. And if they had their first round, now they had some money to actually do investing in marketing. And I've had to be player coach in each of those situations, right? They're startups. You've got to be scrappy. You have to be flexible. You have to know how to work within ambiguity. There's just all of those things. And uh, 12 years ago in March, my husband had a brainstem stroke.
Yeah.
And for anybody who has dealt with brain injuries or anything like that, that is actually almost always fatal. And he is a walking, talking miracle. But in the throes of going from a marketing manager to a chief marketing officer in the corporate world, I was also a full-time caregiver to my
Yeah.
husband, and I was raising two children. And what I learned in that process was that harmony is not something that you can just um, expect that it's going to happen naturally. It's actually a proactive thing you have to choose to do in your life, which is where the Harmony Hero framework came from. I learned that you have to be incredibly flexible and adaptable.
Mm.
And I learned that the lessons that I was learning at the bedside also applied to the boardroom and vice versa. And so instead of having this dual life of, oh, you're a caregiver, whether you're raising kids or you're dealing with elderly parents or you have a spouse that has a challenge like I did, and you're also in corporate America, or you're running your business, or you're a founder, or you're an entrepreneur, whatever that looks like, they're not dual identities. They're actually complementary if you can learn to apply the business principles and the caregiving principles to the other side of the world.
Yeah.
And what I learned is people who do that are very emotionally intelligent, typically. They are also your best advocates and your best employees because they're bringing their whole self to
Yeah.
work and they
So true.
understand how to lead with empathy and they execute well because they have to. In order for them to survive in their life, they have to be able to execute well. So all of those things came together to create what you see today, which is the Harmony Hero Initiative. And I'm trying to help other leaders navigate those challenges that they might face, whether it is things that deal with caregiving, or they're starting a business, or they need to jumpstart their marketing because it's a startup organization. So I'm working with leaders at lots of different levels and lots of different phases because of that entire story I just gave to you about my life. And I'm making it make sense to not only to me, but to those around me.
Yeah, incredible. I'm sorry to hear about what your husband went through, but what a miracle. It sounds like a complete miracle story to have such a profound injury like that and then to be, fully, is he fully recovered? Like fully recovered?
No, no, he's not fully recovered. We do have challenges. But I still have a husband and my kids
Yeah.
still have a dad.
Yeah.
And it's not been easy. It's been a big challenge, but I don't know that I would change it,
No.
honestly, because I am the person I am today because of what we've gone through and because of what we've experienced.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that anything happens by mistake. I believe God has a purpose for all of it, and He doesn't waste anything. So I don't know that I would change it. I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but I know lots of other people deal with similar challenges,
Mm.
and mine is no worse than anybody else's. It's just different.
Yeah, it's quite profound that you have this, this energy about you and that you're caregiving, but obviously bringing the whole self to work, etc.
Mhm.
Tell me a little bit about like, so you've gone from what you were doing, and then you're obviously your husband has his like what is it, accident, injury, like what like a
It just happened.
just
It was,
happened. You have this kind of like world, and then all of a sudden your world comes crashing down in a way. And so at what point during the caregiving and sitting by the bedside, like you said, like just before, did you start to realize that there were similarities in life and work and business? I'll call it life and business, right? Because life, leadership, and business, which is what I'm all about as well, right? So, at what moment did you start to go, hang on a second, these two work together? Like, was it that you were in survival mode in terms of you obviously needed to keep the family afloat. You had to keep ensure that you had, money coming into the family. You were caregiving as well. You were, trying to do to work and to do business. You've obviously had your own lived experience to create this the harmony hero framework. Yeah, tell us a
Mhm.
little bit about how you then came into creating, and what is the harmony hero framework? What does it entail?
Absolutely. So several questions in there. So let's
Yes.
start with the how did I learn this or when did I learn this? I was probably 3, 4, 5 years into the caregiving aspect of life. And my kids were middle school, high school age, just getting into that area. And we were in the hospital a lot at the time. And there was a particular trip where I had to do a board presentation while I was in the hospital, which meant I needed it's just the logistics of life, right? So we're just going to be very raw. This is unscripted. This is what it's supposed to be, right? So
100%.
I hadn't showered in 2 days. I had to shower quickly somewhere, find a place to shower, and get dressed, be on video for a board meeting. and be prepared with all my slides and all the things, even though I hadn't slept in days. And I was saying things in the hospital during that trip to doctors and nurses and caring professionals who were in there that I was going to have to say in my board presentation. And at that moment, I was like, that's it. It's not a separate life. It's learning to find harmony in the midst of all of that. And it really wasn't, I didn't put language to it until really last year, the beginning of last year. And that's when I came up with an actual framework. Because I was still working and doing all the
Yeah.
things and had all of that. And I've had time now to start thinking through that. How did we do that? How did we survive? How did we
Yeah.
apply those things? And how can it benefit someone else so that they don't have to learn their lessons through bloodied knees and bruises and scrapes like I did? Maybe there's an easier way for
Yeah.
them. And so I sat down with a whiteboard and markers and crayons because I love all of those things as well as Play-Doh. Those are some of the things that are always sitting on my desk. And I said, I just need to find a way to put it in a framework that makes sense. And so my husband, he uh, he gave me his Swiss Army knife. That was his very first Swiss Army knife. And he said, you are an MVP. You are a utility player. You always have been. And I was taking the harmony aspect of needing balance in my life and the fact that I was also a utilitarian player. Like you could put me in any spot, tell me what your result that you were looking for, and I would get you the result. That was part of my 5% that made me different, right? And so I sat down with those things and just started playing with it for a few weeks. And the framework came about by thinking through what are the aspects that it takes to be a harmony hero and how do you teach that to someone else? So the first thing is you need a heightened EQ. You need to work on the skills that help you to understand who you are and how you relate to other people.
Mm.
So that's important. It requires somebody who knows how to draw alignment between organizations. So for me in corporate America, that was alignment between sales and marketing, making sure that we were aligned so that we didn't have friction because those two organizations tend to have a lot of friction.
Mm.
And I never have really experienced much of that in my career because I've been really good at building alignment. You have to be incredibly resilient. So that's another part of the framework. And being able to bounce back. Because if you can't do that and you just stay stuck, you can't move forward.
No.
And in a world like this, where you need to be flexible and be able to stretch and grow and whatever, you need the resiliency. You need to know how to motivate others. So whether I was dealing with hospital personnel or I was dealing with people at work, whether they were employees or managers, I needed to be able to motivate them to get what I needed and also to be able to help them get what they needed. And that required me to be open-minded. I had to understand where they were coming from, be open to new ideas, and then be able to navigate them, remove obstacles for employees, make sure that they were able to get done what they needed done, remove obstacles for my family in order to be able to find peace and harmony and balance there. So that's the N. And then the Y is my favorite. And Y is being youthful and yielding to the situation. And that's celebrating progress over perfection because none of us is a complete project. We are all a work in progress. And that's what we have to do in order to be able to survive in this world.
Yeah.
So those are the reasons and the pieces that came about to create the Harmony Hero framework.
It's amazing. I love it. It's so on point though, like with the world we're in right now, right? Like just like you could apply it, just to anything that we're doing. And there's so much I take out of that. Did you say youthful? Like the why? Did you say youthful? What was
You
that? What,
did. So come here, say hello. Hello. Surprise intro. This is my walking, talking miracle of a husband. Um,
hello. How are
and
you?
he's going to go out for trivia with his friends tonight. So he just came in to say goodbye.
Hello, how are
So
you?
in life, this is what we do. I'm on a podcast. So love you. Ooh. Have a great time. See you later.
See you. Oh, that's gorgeous, isn't it? I, it makes my heart melt. It's so sweet. It's just beautiful.
Right?
How long ago did
Like
you
I said,
how long ago did you say your husband had the injury?
in March, it will be 12 years.
Oh wow, okay. So 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's really shaped, where you are now. Do you ever look back and just kind of, or do you ever just stop at any point in time now and just kind of go, wow, look how far we've come, like in terms of, yeah. Because you're
Yes, we
constantly,
have a lot.
yeah, because you're constantly having to be flexible, adapt, like you are. You're living this every day, this Harmony Hero framework,
Mhm.
right? Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. And so
Correct.
then, well, tell me, when you're going into businesses and working with companies or leaders, like applying the Harmony Hero framework, do you encourage them? Like, is it about bringing their whole self to work? Like, do you like, in terms of life, leadership, and business, in terms of bringing it all, warts and all, like, this is how we need to, yeah,
Yes, absolutely. I think too many times we try to put on a front. I mean, I could have stood here today and not kissed him goodbye, right? Because I'm doing a video podcast. However, I might not see him again. That's the reality that we learned 12 years ago. So it's important for me to make that connection to say goodbye and I love you. Well, the same is true at work. It's important if somebody's having a crisis or somebody's dealing with a challenge, it's okay for them to come in and know that it's okay in my world for them to deal with
yeah,
that,
yeah,
right? And oftentimes if you give people the space to just breathe for a moment, as we talked at the beginning, where you said, goals and people are feeling pressure and all of the things for today. We got to hit the goals, got to hit the. Okay, if that's all you think about and you miss the human centered piece of it, of every single one of those people that you work with and have goals that are you need them to complete, they also have a life outside and they come with challenges every day.
yeah.
And if we don't at least give them some space to deal with what they need to deal with when they need to deal with it, then they don't have any extra to give back. And and so in my teams, when I was working with teams, and I had small teams and I had large teams. I had everything from 2 people to 50, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I made sure that they understood that it was okay for them to have a life. And guess what they did? Because I gave them and I said, "Hey, listen, you're having a bad day. Just go. Take take the rest of the day off and just come back tomorrow and do what we need to get done." Do you know that they worked harder for me
Yeah,
and they were more loyal to me and they gave me more than 40 hours a week because I gave them time off to do the things they needed to do when they needed to do it. And I believe that human-centered piece of leadership is often overlooked because people are looking at numbers and crunching numbers and spreadsheets and not
agree.
looking at the human element. And I believe you can get so much more out of people if you allow them to bring their whole self to work. And I believe by being a leader who brings your whole self to work, you create that environment for them because it starts from the top down.
I agree. I agree. And you nailed it in terms of the ability to give people grace, like just like because quite often we don't give ourselves grace because when we're going through our own hardships, I mean, I've got quite a few of my own stories, not different, but like hospitals and my dad's got terminal cancer, and I remember when he was first diagnosed and like he was having a stem cell transplant. And I just remember like the way I used to have to operate, like, because, they basically, kill them to get to take them to the other side when it comes to stem cell transplant. And working in this hospital frantically and doing presentations because I was the managing director. And, you're just doing things, but you're also then, like you say, you're then making sure that your dad's okay or your husband's okay. And you're also then making sure the nurses are feeling like they're appreciated so that they're doing the right thing by your loved one. It's a lot, like, but it applies in business. I hadn't thought about it that way, but it absolutely does from a caregiving perspective because you're a caregiver at work. You're a caregiver as a leader. Like this is about, you being your whole self, showing your vulnerabilities. I love you brought your husband onto the show, by the way, because that's what I'm all about here. Like I'll sometimes get people inquiring about my podcast and, what's your numbers? And I'm like, it's not about that. Like if you're
Mhm.
all if all you're about is numbers and how many people I've reached, etc., it'll reach all the people it needs to reach in the world. I have no doubt. But I'm less about that, and I'm more about bringing on people to the show who are showing up as their whole selves and sharing with the audience what is required in life, in leadership, in business, in today's world, because everything you're talking about here is not going away. Like you hear constantly of all these different challenges that we face. And so
Right.
I guess you go.
I was just going to say, and nobody's ever going to get to the end of their life and say, I wish I worked more,
No.
And that being the case, we need to work. It's good for us to work. It's good for us to have goals. It's good for us to strive,
100%. 100%.
do all those
Yeah.
numbers and metrics, and all those things are important. But if we lose sight of the things that are really important, we really miss out. And I don't want to be that person, right? I just don't, because I did not expect that at 43, my husband was going to, potentially die, and
Mm.
has potentially died several times since.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to take that for granted. So, I love to hear that. And I believe that when you bring your whole self to work and when you do those things, those are part of what help you go from, that's what helps you go from being unseen to unforgettable as well.
Yeah.
Because people remember that. People remember the human side. They remember how you made them feel, not that you just hit all the numbers.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the numbers follow. Like if you can behave, if you can
Mhm.
lead and behave the way you're talking about and I think the numbers do follow. Like you say, all of it's all, like it's all super important. But let's just
Yeah.
get real for a second here. What are you seeing at the moment then in terms of like the biggest opportunities for leaders? Like, do you still think that we are in this world of like hustle and like just like do you think it's getting better, or do you think it hasn't really changed and we've got a big job to do, like, and then I will come on to the Plato principle as well, but yeah, what are you seeing at the moment? What's your
Well,
observation?
I think in an artificial everything world, because that's what we are, right? Everything's I think the hustle's gotten worse and gotten harder because a lot of people are being replaced. A lot of people are out of work because of what technology can do for businesses right now. But it also provides an opportunity to figure out where is your harmony and where is your balance and what brings
Mm,
you joy and how do
mm,
you monetize that. And what a difference in life when you do that, when you're able to bring what you love doing and able to make money at doing that and use the technology and the amazing things that the world is bringing out and about. I think we're at a turning point where a lot of people are starting to realize there's more than just climbing the ladder. There's more than just making X million, right? There's more to that in life. And I think we're starting to turn a corner, but I think it's because people are being forced out. I think it's because people are being forced to think about what really matters. And I don't know that corporations are necessarily making those changes yet. They're thinking about it or they aspire to do it, but they're not
there,
really
yeah.
doing it.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think people as a whole are starting to think about what's really important to me, and is it really the hustle and bustle? Is it really doing all of those things? Or is it living a balanced life where I find joy in everything that I do?
Yeah, so it's a really good observation. It's kind of interesting, isn't it? Because I'm not sure about you, but like when I've had forms of adversity, I'm like it's the universe. Like whether you talk about faith, it's the universe just going right. Like we're putting you on, we're course correcting you right now. Like if you actually really look into it, you kind of go, why did this happen? And rather than kind of going, oh, poor me, woe me, don't get me wrong, you have those moments, but also you just kind of like, it's putting me on purpose. And it's almost like when COVID came along, it slowed us all down. It like put us like, kind of flipped us all upside down. The world hasn't gone back to the way it was pre-COVID. Now AI's come in this massive revolution, like you say, and there's a lot of buzz, don't get me wrong as well. Like I think that'll be a very interesting year, and people I'm talking to on the pod, like really, the AI experts are saying it'll really kind of come, like it'll be interesting this year in particular. All the buzz will, kind of peter away in a way. But I guess what you're saying also is that, I've just lost my train of thought. Don't you hate that when you just lose your train of thought? I was on a really good
The
steer.
only one that had that problem. Come
Yeah,
on.
but no, but basically, no, that's what I was going to say. Thank you. It just came back to me. But like it's almost like the universe is creating this revolution's come into play, this AI revolution to actually get us back to what we should be actually focusing
Right.
on, back to what is important, back to what is real, because it's almost like COVID happened. We sort of listened, but then we went back to like,
We went right back to the same
and
crazy,
now we're
right?
like, here we are, and now it's like AI's here, and now it's just like forcing these shifts, these changes in roles, etc. The possibilities are endless, though, if we
Hmm.
actually listen and we actually, remove that chaos and get back to what clarity is, right? What life is all about, and business, like your whole self, exactly that. Tell me a little bit about the Plato principle. You were talking to the Plato principle of leadership. You talked a little bit to me pre-show about it, and I was quite intrigued. Yeah, tell us a bit about it.
Yeah. Like I said, I love Play-Doh. I love markers. I love all of the creative things. I'm not a graphic designer. That's not my skill set. However, I love all the things that are creative. And Play-Doh happens to be one of those things that is just a an amazing memory jogger for people. I mean, if you think about it, when you were 4 or 5 or 3, you probably can remember opening up that container of Play-Doh and smelling it. You might
My
even
mum
can
used to
smell
make it. My
it.
mum used to make it. I can remember the pot, and she'd pour the stuff in, and then she'd pour the food dye in, and like we used to sit around, and yeah, we used to make Play-Doh. So I remember
It's
that smell.
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that smell is just like it brings back memories for me left and right. In my living room, I have, I don't know, like 18 jars of Play-Doh that my husband bought me for Christmas a couple years ago. And so I have all the colors and all the things. And it's just one of those things that for me is a childhood memory that has so much richness embodied in the actual concept. So I don't know if you know, but Play-Doh was actually an accident. It was really a failed experiment. So a lot of people know the story of Post-it notes, that the glue on the back of
Yes.
Post-it
Yeah.
notes
Yeah. Yeah.
was
Yeah.
something that didn't work, right? And they turned it into something that does. Well, Play-Doh's the same thing. It was an obsolete product that was wallpaper cleaner. And it was created, designed, all the things. It was launched. And immediately after that came washable paint. So no, you no longer needed to clean the wallpaper because we had washable paint. So the inventor of this thing, his sister actually worked in a fifth kindergarten class, and her students were playing with it, creating ornaments and doing all kinds of stuff, and they were just playing with it because they just had a bunch of it laying around. And she said 4 words to him one day that changed the entire direction of his life, where he thought he was a failure and he became somebody who was considered brilliant at this point. And she said, "It is a toy." And so they reformulated it, not massively, just enough to make sure there was no
Yeah.
toxins in it, nothing that would be bad for kids. They added coloring and then they repackaged it and renamed it Play-Doh. So something that was failed and a failure, and this person thought they were a failure because of it, all of a sudden turned it around and it became this iconic thing that people like me have massive memories from childhood
Yeah.
of this particular product, right? And not much has changed throughout the years, really, with it. It's stayed pretty much the same.
Same,
So
yeah.
not everything has to be evolved and innovated upon. Sometimes there's creativity and things you can do, but it's a material that teaches us how we really should be influential leaders, in my opinion. And that means that we need to have K Zufalls in our life. And we need to have what I call KZ moments occasionally in our life as well. And you need people who can see the things that maybe you can't see. So, as I'm working with leaders, I ask them, do you have a personal board of directors? Is this something that you have in your life? It is a thing that once I implemented it in my life, things changed a lot for me.
Mm,
And it's because they see things in you that you can't.
yeah.
They see the gold where you see cracks. And that's a huge thing for people and leaders that we need to have. The other thing about Play-Doh is, if you think about it, it's remoldable. So you
Yeah.
shape it, right? And then oh, I don't like it. I want to reshape it. Okay, well, markets changed, AI's come into play, things have happened. Are you a leader that can be a shaper, or are you a leader who chisels things into hard stone? And it has to be this way, or it has to be that way, and it can
Yeah.
only be this way.
Rigidity.
Rigidity is not going to help you in
No,
an AI world.
totally. No.
Right? We
Mm.
have to be flexible to figure it out and reshape it. And when we can take our story and we can then bring our systems and our processes together that we use as leaders, and we're flexible and moldable and be a shaper instead of a chiseler, it's amazing what you can do because you can pivot when things happen. You can pivot when COVID hits. You can pivot when AI is taking your job away. There's new things you can come up with. And the whole idea of Play-Doh is all about designing harmony between what your story is. So, your brand story, your corporate story, your personal story, your leadership story, whatever that story is, and melding it with the systems that you need to put in place and make them flexible enough to get you to the next level of where you're trying to go.
I love it. It's very cool. It's so on point with my whole formless methodology in terms of just that ability to continuously shape, reshape. You know, we're always adapting with the need to be flexible. You know, that non-linear world we're in, it's not linear anymore. It's like, you know, we're constantly pivoting. We can, you know, there is still an ability to be strategic. There's still an ability to, you know, set your targets, etc. But to have the courage and to be open-minded, be curious, I think is so important as a leader, isn't it? In terms of then putting the systems around it. It's and you know, a leadership from the soul, you know, being a soulful leader as well, that inside out leadership. It's I love it. I love it. You've got such great analogies and great frameworks that, you know, we need to be sharing more and more with leaders and teams and businesses, because this is the new paradigm. This is what is going to open up the endless opportunities with the likes of AI, etc., now in play, and, you know, right in play as we speak. I've got a couple of final questions for you, Sherry. What do you Just based on everything we've been talking about, you know, what do you think are the biggest opportunities, you know, when it comes to businesses and leadership, you know, looking into 2026 and what's in front of us now?
I think the biggest opportunity for leaders is to look at the landscape and go back to what brings you joy. When we
Yeah.
talk about how is this world changing, this is an opportunity. It's not just a negative thing.
No.
Most of the time when challenges happen, there is a beautiful thing that happens of a masterpiece on the other side of it. Now, going through it may not be great and it's hard and it can be a challenge, but it's worth it on the other side.
Mm.
And I think that is what I would say is the biggest opportunity for leaders in 2026 is finding a way to find the joy that you get and need in life, not only from your work, but also from your personal life and from your what you can do to help others.
Yeah. I love it. It's so true though, isn't it? And the other part of this is like time. Like don't beat yourself up with how long it takes to find that joy because I think that's the other thing, like this pressure of I've got to find the joy, I've got to find my purpose. It will take as long as it needs to take. Like, you know, you look at you with your husband, like you've had this adversity happen 12 years ago. It has been a journey. You have continuously evolved, right? Like it's the same with my own story, my own journey last 3 years. There's been times, and I'm sure you probably had the same feeling where you're just like, why isn't this happening now? And it was so good to hear that you said that the Harmony Hero framework only really came about last year because you had to go through all of that to then create the masterpiece. The masterpiece doesn't just happen overnight. Like Gaudi didn't happen like all his brilliant masterpieces, like they didn't just happen overnight. They took years. So it's okay to also just slow it down a little bit and allow it to happen and unfold the way it's meant to. Do you agree with that? Like, I think that we need to get back to that a little bit too and just be like, it doesn't have to be instantaneous. And I've really had to learn that myself quite sometimes the hard way. I still am.
It is hard. I think we live in a world of instant gratification.
Mm,
We have we have these wonderful little devices that give us everything we
I
need in
know.
an instant. And, we've lost the joy of not having instant gratification, and delayed gratification can actually be a very good thing. And but you also have to learn patience in that process.
Yeah.
And that's not easy either. But the more patient that you are and the more deliberate you are with the choices you make, I think the faster you will find the joy, and the faster the joy will also produce results that will affect the measurement and money and revenue and time and resources and all those things.
Yeah. Amazing. Sherry, how do we find out more about you? Like, how do we find out more about the Harmony Hero framework, the Plato principle of leadership? Yeah, where do we hear more?
Absolutely. So obviously, I have websites. I have two different websites depending on what people are looking for. So I work with a lot of leaders on the personal side from a coaching perspective, and that's theharmonyhero.com.
Yeah, got that one.
And then I also have Edge of Harmony, which is a marketing arm for startup organizations. So anybody who's looking for that help from a CMO, but can't afford yet to have the type of senior executive that I can be to help them. I'm currently helping a lot of clients do that right now.
Amazing. Excellent. And obviously we can find you on LinkedIn also.
LinkedIn, I'm on all socials, and I have a book that will be coming out. And I am also co-authoring a book that will come out. I think it'll be out in the next 2 months. So that
Amazing.
will come out first. My book is going to probably be later in 2026.
Amazing. Well, look forward to reading. I'm sure that your book will be fascinating, and I no doubt it's about your whole journey and your story. And kind of almost feel like it's like the title is something around the Harmony Hero or something like that. I could be wrong, but like I do get that feeling. Sherry, thank you so much for your time. I love the way you are reshaping life and leadership and business and then coming at it from a whole being place. It's exactly where, I am and what I'm doing with Be Formless as well. And we need more of the trailblazers like yourself and myself in this world to show that there is another way to be successful and do it sustainably as well, like in a way that works for you, redefining it, reshaping what it looks like. So wishing you a wonderful evening and utmost success for this year, the year ahead. And thank you.
Thank you so much. It has been a delightful conversation, and I cannot wait to continue to learn more and watch you grow as you start building out what you've got coming for 2026. It's going to be great to watch it happen.
Thanks, Sherry. Take care. Enjoy your evening.